Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. I know this is coming out a little bit late, but I literally just landed from Florida from a really cool trip. I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But before I do, just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist and Titleist Vokey Design SM10 wedges. Nothing can do more to sharpen your short game than a fresh set of grooves, especially if those grooves are spin milled into a Vokey Design SM10 wedge. Bob Vokey and his team are always grinding, and the work shows in SM10, already a favorite among the best wedge players in the world. SM10 was designed around the three keys to great wedge play: shot versatility, distance and trajectory control, and maximum spin. Top players around the world love the look and feel of Vokey wedges. They always feel great, and they always have great sound to them. The SM10 lineup includes a new T-grind, a low bounce option that encourages real artistry around the greens. So score some fresh grooves with Vokey SM10 and see how sharp your short game can be. Find your nearest Vokey fitter or use the online wedge selector tool to unlock the right SM10s for you at Vokey.com. So hopefully you guys have a good one. Yeah, I literally flew home today. I landed at like noon. Well, I landed a little before noon, but anyway, it's like 2 o'clock. So I literally landed, got here, and am recording. So it was a wild time, but I am back, and yeah, like I gotta get the show for everybody. So I was down in Cabot, Cabot Citrus Farms. I know it's like the hottest place in terms of a golf resort right now. We were down there with Wilson Golf, doing kind of a really cool member experience. There were 4 Golf to Beer X Forum members who got selected to go down there, all expenses paid. They got to stay on the course or on the Cabot property in one of their villas, which were just beautiful. And then they got fit for basically a whole bag of Wilson clubs. I think they all thought they were going to get drivers fairways, but ended up getting a whole bag, full set from everything from driver down to lob wedge. The only thing they didn't get was putters, and it was really cool. It was a whole lot of fun. Those guys they got to experience Wilson, and I think that was the big thing of looking at it as the Wilson's got some new products. We've all seen the new woods, and getting people to really try them and see what they're about. And I think most of the guys, or all the guys, walked away really impressed with what they saw in terms of performance and feel and all that. And then they got to play the wedge, their little short course at night, which was really cool. It was borderline dangerous, but very cool. And then they got to go play the Karoo course yesterday, and we got that in. We didn't think that we would get it in because the rain was scheduled to hit about middle of the day, and our tee time was like 10:30. But the rain held off. We got it in. The second group, unfortunately, did get a little bit wet on 18. It kind of started to sprinkle, started to rain a little, but they got it in. Got the full 18 in, both groups. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. I didn't actually play. I drove around with the film crew because we filmed a bunch of it. So we'll have that coming out over the next few weeks. You're going to see film from that experience, but it was just awesome. I mean, Cabot, absolutely beautiful. It's just, I mean, the villas, you go, they have this like little row of villas. It's like the best golf neighborhood you could probably ever like be in. Right out the back door of the villa is the range, and it's lit. So like at night, you can, you and your buddies, whatever, you can just go out and hit balls. They've got an insane putting course or putting practice green that they set up a course on, 18-hole little like course. We did that one night as well. It was so fun, just tons of undulation, crazy downhills and uphills and all that stuff. So that was a whole lot of fun. And then, the wedge course is up on the top of this hill, and they have a cool like bar, pizza, like pizza station type thing. And you can order some pizza, go sit down. They got a bunch of fire pits, and you can hang around with your friends. And then you go out and play the wedge course, which is, I think it's 12 holes, and you just go play. I think the longest one was 100, I think I'm thinking 120. We didn't bring a laser rangefinder. We were just kind of going on the card. I think the longest one was like 118. And then the shortest one was probably like 75, or like, no, it was under 70. It was 60 something. So we went out there and played that. And it was cool. One of the guys actually ended up making a hole in one on the last hole. And it was funny because it's lit, but it's lit in a weird way. Like the lights are all like maybe waist high or knee high, like they're really low. So like you see the ground, but like up in the air and stuff like that. You just don't see as much. And he hit a ball that, was kind of left of the left of the pin, and it just missed the tree, fell into the shadow where the pin was in like this shadowed area, and we were just standing on the back, and it hit, bounced, rolled, hit, bounced to the right, and just rolled, and then just clink, done in the hole. It was pretty cool. It was pretty exciting. The funny thing is, they thought so. We were waiting on behind the green, our group, and then he said he didn't believe it. He thought we were messing with him because only two of us saw it because it was kind of dark. And so myself and this guy and Matt from Wilson, we both jump up. We're like, "Oh man, it's in the hole. We're going crazy." And then nobody else, everybody else standing behind there was like, "Did it go in?" No, it didn't go in. It's over there. Nobody thought it went in other than us two who saw it. And they thought like we were messing with them, like just making a thing. And then got up there, and there it was, sitting in the hole. So pretty cool. And interesting enough too, like when they got fit for wedges, the Wilson tour van was at Cabot. It was like in the parking lot, and they got to go in, kind of got to hit wedges in the short game area, figure out what they needed. Then went, picked out the heads, got them stamped, custom stamped. Tanner in the Wilson truck was stamping them up and then building the wedges. And then they had them for that night to play the wedge, which was really cool. So they had, a lot of guys just got either like kids' names or initials, or one guy got he was an NC State grad, so he got some NC State stuff on there. So some really cool stuff. It was a whole lot of fun. It's tiring. It's when you go there and you get to go to one of these events, one of these things. It's wild. It goes on, and it's like all day, all night, and you're just going. And then you get home and you just kind of wind down. So it is, but it was really fun. It went really well, and it was cool. It was really cool to see some guys out there who've never touched Wilson products. Like one of the guys, he's like, I've never hit a Wilson product. I've never, never swung one. And to be able to experience the whole line, from woods down to wet, from irons, wedges, all that. It was pretty cool to see. So we had a whole lot of fun. And I actually did not play Cabot. Like I said, I was kind of running around with the film crew. I played like one hole and hit, I think, like 6 shots on there. And that was it. I was trying to do more, but also, for me, this was work. For those guys, it was a trip, and it was really cool. They got to experience everything. For me, I had to work at it. Like it was one of those things. Like we had to get some content and get some stuff and all that. So I didn't get to play as much. I played the wedge. It was really fun. It's super hard. Like you hit the greens were so non-receptive. You'd think like, oh, just hit 70-yard shots or whatever. Like I'll score, whatever. No, it was really, really difficult. There's tons of undulation, tons of slope. And then at night, you can't really tell. The depth perception is hard. And then, getting it to stop was like impossible. You'd have to play everything way short and let it run up. It was just, it was fun though. We had a good time. Ate some good pizza. Had a beverage or two. It was a good time. So very cool, very fun experience. You're going to see more of it if you go into the Golf the Bricks forums. I know the 4 guys who went will be posting much more about their experience. There's always a thread in there about it. And then we'll have some videos coming out on the Golf the Bricks YouTube channel that are showing off what these guys had to experience. So it was a whole lot of fun. So it's always fun to do those things. It's always fun to meet some of the Golf the Bricks forum members that you read their posts, but you don't know the face. And getting to meet them and hang out, talk some golf. We went out to dinner last night before everybody flew home early, and we just went to some little brewery type place. It wasn't anything fancy, and I'm pretty sure we talked for so long about wedge grinds and who plays what where and everything. It was one of those things, like golf was still on the mind. So whole lot of fun. Like I said, look for more coming on Golf WRX. I posted a thing to Wilson, thank them, thank Lindsay, Matt, Harry, all those people for putting this thing on. They even gave me those guys all got golf bags, their names on it. They actually made one for me and gave me one of the really cool head covers as well. So they didn't need to do that, but I really appreciate it, and those things are really cool. If you go on my Instagram, Club Junkie Pod, you'll see. I think my story is still up there that has it. I will definitely be posting photos as soon as I pull it out of my travel bag, because it's still there at the moment. So, but no, great time there had by everyone, and it was great. So Yeah, we'll talk about, it'll probably be a little bit shorter episode, just because, with that and travel and all that, I need to get this thing up. But yeah, we're going to talk today a little bit about a club that a lot of people have been asking me about, and I finally got it out on the range and stuff, which is the PXG Secret Weapon. So this is the mini driver from PXG, and it is definitely a cool design. It looks a lot like a fairway would, but just a much deeper face, a little bigger head. And I think a lot of people like myself are really interested in this because it actually has, kind of a face and a sole design that you can probably hit off the deck. And with it, like a lot of the mini drivers out there, when you look at TaylorMade and Callaway, and the one we saw from Cobra on tour, they they're really big. I mean, the faces are tall. I mean, they're mini drivers. This I think is more of a, it's called a mini driver, but I think it is more of a 3-wood, but they call it the Secret Weapon. And it's a 300cc head, so definitely a little bit smaller. I think TaylorMade or Callaway's 340cc's. Some of these ones are a little bit bigger, but this one 300cc's, and it's built and it's 13 degrees with the adjustable hosels, so you can make it up to, I think it's up to 14 and a half and down to 11 and a half, something like that. I think their sleeve goes 1.5 either way. So 1.5 degrees up or down from 13 degrees. And yeah, they build it a little bit more. It's kind of in between. I think it's built more like a 3-wood. The length comes in, the stock length is 43 and 3/4 inches. So a little bit more like a 3-wood. But like I said, the big thing is a little shallower face and kind of a sole design that is meant to be hit off the turf a little bit more instead of just being a straight driver. So yeah, really good look. When you look from the top, it basically looks like a Black Ops 3-wood. I have the Black Ops 3-wood. When I set this down, it just looked like a slightly bigger version of that. It really, to me, the other ones look like drivers. This looks like a 3-wood or just a bigger 3-wood. So I was pretty excited to hit it. They thankfully built it kind of custom. They kind of built it very similar to my Black Ops 3-wood. They put the same shaft in there and just made it a little bit longer. So this thing here was built with a Graphite Design 280 VR, it's VR7 stiff. So that's what they put me in before. VR7 stiff is kind of mid-high launch, mid-low spin, and it's got a little stiffer handle section than say like IZ. Really good shaft for a fairway wood, really smooth. I like it a lot. But this thing here, I think it looks really good. It's got the carbon crown, just like the fairways, the composite crown. But the big thing too, it's got 4 movable weights on the bottom. So one near the face, toe, heel, and back. And you can basically position those around to set this up however you want. For me, it's built kind of with heavy weight back, heavy weight heel. And basically that is to just move a little bit weight back so it hits it higher. You can definitely push the heavier weights forward, lower that launch, take some spin off it. But mine were set in that, and I haven't messed with them yet because I just have enough time to go through and mess with them. But this is, kind of how they set up for me. But a really good look, very kind of simple and classic on the bottom. I was expecting it to be a little wilder. I know we saw this on tour. Sometimes tour, is just kind of a prototype type thing. So you don't, it changes when it gets to retail, but yeah, just Secret Weapon on the toe. Bottom just has the PXG logo, and then the top is just, the crown with the carbon weave and the black. So really, really simple and classic looking. And I think it sets really nice when you look down on it. Mine in the just standard hosel setting looks open. You don't see a ton of face. I mean, you see face like a strong lofted fairway, but you don't see a ton of face to it. So yeah, it looks really good. They've got the little X alignment aid right on the top and the gloss. But overall, the looks and stuff are really good. I think the sound and feel are solid as well. It's got a nice metallic sound, but it's pretty muted. Again, hitting most of these shots indoors because it's too cold out, and it really does amplify the sound a lot. But the sound is definitely metallic, has that ting to it, but it does work really well. And this one here, it still has, titanium face, kind of titanium body, and then the carbon top. So still got a lot of ball speed on it. But they only offer it in 13. There's no, 11 degree option or 15 degree option or anything like that. It definitely just has the one option. But I think this thing is going to be super versatile. I basically took it out, hit it off the tee, hit it off the deck. And I was basically taking numbers on both so I kind of compare. But yeah, my whole thing for putting, mini driver in the bag, everybody always, asked me like, oh, you're going to put a mini driver in the bag. And I just didn't have the space because I couldn't hit it off the deck. Like I tried, I hit burner, I hit the Callaway. They come off so low for me because that face is so tall. I always feel like I just have to get down on it so much that I can't get it in the air. So this thing here definitely much easier to hit off the deck than I thought. I actually was kind of hitting it next to the Elite Titanium because I just had gotten that in. And it was interesting because I thought the ball speed numbers were pretty close. I thought they actually played somewhat similar, even though they were very different. And I thought that was very good for the Secret Weapon because for me, if I was going to take my 3-wood out to put in a mini driver, I got to have something that if I get to that point where I need to hit it off the deck, I can do it. And this one, it looks like I can. Now I haven't hit it off real grass yet. Like we're going to get there, but hitting it off, hitting off the tee, hitting off the deck on turf, so far really really good. So sound and feel are solid. Like I said, got that titanium ting to it, but it's pretty muted. It's not loud. It's not offensive, anything like that. The overall, what do you call it? Flight of the ball, very straighter than I thought. I really thought this was going to be kind of like that. It would be a little kind of go a little bit everywhere, and it really didn't. For me, it was very straight to slight fade actually, which was interesting. So I'm trying to pull back up my little what do you call it dispersion chart for this thing, but there we go. But yeah, when I look at kind of the shot shape on it, I mean, very straight, especially when you look at hitting it off the turf. It was like just right at target, and I hit most of the balls there. Like one kind of go a little bit left. Most of everything was straight or slightly right, slight fade to it, but really high performance and very versatile. I was able to hit both off the deck and off the turf. So when I looked at numbers for both of this, for both, hitting off the turf, it was basically I got into. I'll start with launch angle because to me that was kind of like the most important. So off the turf, I basically launched this at 12.9, which I was pretty impressed with. 13 degrees for me. I mean, I don't hit the ball very high. I'm kind of a low ball player, so 12.9. It offered a decent trajectory. Got up to like 81 feet on average. So I was able to kind of get that thing up in the air and, have the ability to probably, it stops somewhat relatively quick, decently on the green. But overall, it was really easy to elevate. I never really had to, shots that were really low on the face that just didn't, get up. They definitely stayed up in the air, or that came out flat. They definitely got me up in the air, no matter if I caught it maybe a hair thin or hit it, pretty close to center. But I never felt like I was just having to like sledgehammer this club into the ground in order to get, the face, the contact to get on, closer to center face. I could swing it. Looking at the two, it definitely launched higher off the tee. And if I was able to kind of pull up really quickly, in terms of attack angle, yes, attack angle was a little bit different between the two. Like for this off the turf, I was basically a negative 3.1 on average, where off the tee, which is a very small, like just teeing it up a little bit, I was basically negative 0.1, so basically neutral. So I did hit down on it, but not near as much, and I felt like I made way better contact, and it was way easier. It didn't mess with my head, and I was able to hit in the air, which was really good, because a lot of times, same thing, 13-degree heads, they don't get very high in the air for me. So overall there, but yeah, I thought forgiveness was pretty solid. I thought consistency was good. I thought it was more forgiving than I thought it would be. I thought I was going to see a lot of kind of two-way miss type stuff, whatever, and I didn't have any of that. It was really either straight or straight, just right at target, or that one draw that really wasn't that far a draw. I think it was like it was like a 20-yard draw. It wasn't anything too crazy off the deck, and then off the tee, it was pretty much the same thing. I hit it basically just a touch more right of target, but again, I had the same thing, like one ball that kind of one little draw in there that I just kind of got it to go way left. So overall, really consistent, very straight, much easier to hit than I thought. I just thought this was going to be a little bit more demanding, and it's really not. It's easy to hit, easy to get in the air, and it flies straight. And the nice thing is too, whatever bias you think is built into it, you've got 4 movable weights to change that bias however you want. If you want it super fade, throw that heavy weight in the toe. If you want super fade and low, kind of beast mode it, front toe, throw it out there, and you're going to have something that really kind of takes some spin off and goes. So I could even see some really kind of crazy guys going like with 3 heavy weights in the front and like, the lightest weight they could possibly find in the back, and that thing could go. It would be crazy. That thing would be super low spin. It'd be an absolute bomber off the tee and off the deck. I mean, off the deck, it would probably have a 0 spin. So, but really good there. Like I said, launch angle between the two, 12.9 off the turf, which for me, I think is pretty solid. 15 degrees off the tee. And a big part of that is looking at, the difference in attack angle. That made a big difference between those two. So carry between that. So off the turf, I kind of averaged 223.2, which is probably about what I average. I may hit some 15 degrees stuff a little bit further because they get up in the air and they carry a little bit further. But I off the tee, I was about 4 yards longer. It was 227.2, but there were some way longer off the tee shots compared to, look at the carry for off the deck, and everything was kind of like between that 229 and basically like 220. Like everything was kind of in between there. That was what I hit. It was just, there was no real outliers or anything like that. Off the tee, there were definitely a few longer ones that were, in the high 230s. But then a couple that, I just didn't hit it, didn't hit it as quite solid, that only carried like, 227 or whatever they averaged out. So the T version average out, it ended up being, it was 228.8. I wrote the wrong. Why did I write 227? Either way, it was 5 yards longer. 228.8 was the number. I don't know why I wrote down. Oh, that was the one that I wrote down was the carry for the last shot instead of the average. So, okay, that's what it was. I was like, why did I write down 227? But that's why, because it was that was the last shot. So, but I had like some high 230s in there, 237.6, 237.5. There were some higher ones in there, 231. So there were definitely stuff that was longer, but there were a couple that I just didn't hit perfectly that brought that average down. But it was 5 yards longer that off the tee compared to off the turf. Spin rate was actually this is the one that was surprising to me, was spin rate difference. I thought the spin rate was going to be wildly different. I thought the spin rate off the turf was going to be substantially higher, and it really was only about 150 RPM different. So off the turf, it was 29.2 or 2,928 RPMs. Then off the tee, it was 2,876. Now, I did hit a little bit more of a fade with it off the tee compared to off the turf. I don't know if I was just like, on the turf, I was making sure to release it and, to hit it straight in order to, get down on it and all that. And off the tee, I did, hit it to the right a little bit more. But yeah, only 150 RPM difference, which I was kind of shocked. Now, there were, like in the tee box ones, like, hitting it left, a 2,200 shot and stuff like that. So I think if I hit more draws with it, you would see that number come down a little bit more. But I was kind of shocked that they stayed there. And honestly, I was kind of shocked that there was really only a few shots that went over 3,000 hitting it off the deck. And the same thing there. Like there was some stuff that was a little bit lower, balls that go left, but nothing that was crazy low. Everything stayed kind of in that mid to slightly high 3,000 mark, which for me is really good. And I know for some players, they're looking for something maybe a little bit lower, but I like the fact that it spins and offers me a little bit of control. But only, about 150 RPM difference between those two, which was pretty interesting for me. But it'll be interesting as I play more with it and maybe be able to, turn it over a little bit more off the tee. That number may come down and there may be a bigger gap there between those two clubs. Ball speed between the two, off the deck, 139.0, so 139. Off the tee, 141.8. So off the tee, I was about 3 miles an hour faster, which, I think is pretty common. On the tee, you're kind of just letting it really go, and you're a little bit more free, kind of swinging at it. Where off the deck, you're definitely trying to hit the ball. Like for me, I'm trying to hit the ball, and that will take away a little bit of either club head speed or whatever, because I'm really focused on hitting the ball. Where on the tee, I'm just trying to let it rip. Like, let's get it down the fairway as far as kind of possible in a sense, and go. So about 3 miles an hour difference between those two. But it's the same thing. If you look at like the best shots off the deck, there's some 142s in there. And then when you look at, off the turf, there's, 145s. So, you look at there's definitely a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a difference. But off the deck, even there's some really high stuff in there. It's just, it just gets averaged out. But really solid ball speed wise. And honestly, off the face, the ball feels pretty good coming off there. Like it definitely feels like it's got some heat to it. So launch angle, I already talked about 12.9 for off the deck, 15 degrees hitting it off the tee. And again, a little bit of that kind of like more fade by a shot off the tee, probably added there. That might come down a little bit tighter as I hit it more, but it was still pretty easy to launch off either one. And then we look at, Apex, same thing, 81 feet for off the deck, 98 feet off the tee. So off the tee, I mean, I could get that thing in the air. It could go. There was a couple like 108s, 113s. I mean, there's some high ones in there. And even, off the deck, actually, I mean, there was some stuff in there that was, 91, 92, 87, 85. So there was stuff on there that was high. Hit a few low ones, especially, hitting a little bit left. But for the most part, it was pretty easy to launch. And I think, again, those numbers there might come back to be a little bit tighter as I play more with it. And then, the average smash factor for both was 144 and 145. So 144 off the deck, which I thought that was pretty good for me. And then 145 off the tee. And again, same thing when I caught it off the tee, like dead nuts, just hit it straight. There were 147s, 148s. But I had a couple 144s where I kind of hit it off the heel a little bit. And the same thing off the deck. It was a little bit more consistent around that 145 area. Again, there was some jumps up there with the 147s and some 143s, but the consistency was more kind of right around 145, 4 off the deck. And I think, again, that for me is just showing that there's ball speed there and I can get it close to the center when I'm hitting it off the deck. Because like I said, usually I can't, and that is something that is possible with this. So this actually has, I think, a chance to go in the bag. I think there's a chance when out on the course, if it does kind of these type of things, off the deck, off the tee, whatever, I could definitely see where this finds a spot in my bag where the 3-wood was. So I like the distance out of it. I just got to see, off actual turf when the pressure's on and you got to hit, something. Can I hit it off the deck? And if so, like I said, I could definitely see this going in there. It's definitely got a chance. It's got more of a chance than say TaylorMade or Callaway just based on size. And if we ever see that Cobra prototype that looks to be pretty big, pretty deep, I think this Secret Weapon's got definitely a better chance than those, just for the versatility. Like, I'm not a huge hitter. I don't hit it super far. So I don't have something like this where, I set driver up for fade and Secret Weapon for draw or mini driver for draw. Like, that's not my game. I need a 3-wood that goes kind of a certain distance because I like to play. The courses I play, there's certain holes where driver just brings in traps or brings in some water, brings stuff into play that you just don't feel like messing with. And if you can hit it short of that, while still hitting it long, but hitting it short of that, you're not penalized on that second shot having to hit some crazy long club in there. You can still hit kind of like mid to short irons in. So for me, 3-wood is definitely a tee club, but it also, like I said, there are some par 5 opportunities that come about that I need to hit it off the deck. So definitely very versatile. I'm super, super impressed with it. I like this thing a lot. It's definitely going to go in. I know I teased on Instagram that I put a different shaft in it as well. I still got both, so we'll mess around with both and see where it goes. I might see about going down to 43 inches as well. Don't want to necessarily lose any of the carry, but I think I might want to go down to 43. I think it'll feel really comfortable. It's kind of that 3-wood length. And then also I'm probably going to switch it to go +1 and go to the 14 degree, just to see if that can, add just a little bit of launch, and just maybe give me a little bit more carry, maybe just a little bit of a steeper angle of descent. So that's kind of my next shot with this thing. But again, overall, I think if you're looking for a mini driver that you can do everything with, this probably gives you the best opportunity. If a mini driver for you is literally a mini driver and you're going to tee it up 95% of the time, definitely go. The bigger models may entice you a little bit more. But if it's something where you need to use it for everything, I think this is going to give a lot of players the chance to hit a lot of different shots with it. So, like I said, I'm excited. I'm going to hit some more shots. I'm definitely going to try out some different settings, maybe a couple different shafts, whatever. But we will definitely mess around with it some more. So that is, yeah, the Project X Secret Weapon mini driver. So pretty fun to play there. And yeah, if you're following me, please follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. Wherever you listen to podcasts, please like, subscribe, whatever. And then also, if you want to watch us on YouTube and see my ugly mug and me just put a mini driver up on the screen, you can do that as well. So that's all I've got today. Hopefully, you guys have a great weekend. Play some golf if you can. It's freezing here still. There's snow all over the place. So maybe I'll indoor it, but I will be traveling again next week. So I'll get to play hopefully a round of golf next week. So that would be kind of fun. So maybe I'll do a little what's in the bag after I get back. So, but that's all I've got for today. Again, you guys have a good weekend, and we'll talk next week.